Gluten-free is super trendy. A lot of people are wanting to try it, but most people are not considering this information about celiac disease testing and whether they should do it prior to going gluten-free. So I really want to share this information with you because it's trendy for an understandable reason. There's a good amount of people that are finding benefit from going gluten-free and all sorts of gut and autoimmune issues. And so if they experience benefit, they're most likely not going to want to add gluten back in large amounts, and that's what we're going to talk about because that's the trick to all this. I'll explain in the video. I'm Ashley Oswald. I'm a functional medicine dietitian and founder of Oswald Digestive Clinic, where we help people improve and eliminate bothersome gut issues like gas, bloat, diarrhea, constipation. And if you're somebody you know wants to work with our clinic, just schedule a free call at the link below to get started. So without further ado, let's talk about celiac disease testing. Okay, first of all, what is celiac disease? It's basically an immune system reaction when somebody eats gluten. Gluten is found in things like wheat, rye, barley, and oats, often are cross-contaminated, but you can find gluten-free oats. So some fun facts about celiac disease that you might know is that on average, to get diagnosed with celiac disease, it takes about 4 years. So most people, before they find out they have celiac disease, are probably struggling with their gut health and other autoimmune symptoms until they get that diagnosis 4 years later. Now, most people think that people who have diarrhea likely have celiac disease, but reality is that it's only a symptom in about 1/3 of people that get diagnosed with celiac disease. So, if only 1/3 of people have diarrhea, what other symptoms might be related? It can be everything from like constipation, which is about 20% of people before they're diagnosed. Their main symptom is constipation. It could be flat out fatigue. It could be headaches. It can be brain fog and depression even. So a wide variety of different symptoms could be caused by celiac disease, which if you've watched our other videos makes total sense, right? Because it's an immune reaction from eating gluten. A lot of autoimmune reactions can come from the gut. So if you're having an immune reaction to a food like gluten, it could show up in all different places in the body, autoimmune-wise, for each individual person, because everybody is slightly different. The gold standard for diagnosis is still a biopsy. So they'll go in and take a little cutting of your small intestine and run it in the lab to see if you have celiac disease. Now, this is being debated by doctors as far as whether that should stay the gold standard, or maybe we can use some of these tests that are finding to be pretty accurate. That's not my world, diagnosis of celiac disease. That's what the doctors assist us with, but my world is the nutrition side. So that's the side I want to talk to you about today. So from the nutrition side, what I really want to emphasize is for celiac disease testing to be accurate, you need to be eating enough gluten. Here's the conundrum. If you're going to go gluten-free, and you're going to feel significantly better, are you going to want to add in enough gluten again to get this test to see if you have celiac disease? You might be thinking, like, why does it matter? Actually, I'm just not eating gluten. It matters because with celiac disease, even a very small amount of gluten can trigger damage in your body. So with this disease, you have to be really careful that things aren't getting cross-contaminated. So that might mean, and that's slightly different than if somebody has like a gluten intolerance or like a gluten sensitivity, or just maybe it's a wheat intolerance, because they might be able to tolerate a small amount without having damage in their body. But with celiac disease, it's not the case. So it might be wise and smart to get it ruled out before you do a gluten elimination, because if you happen to have celiac disease, you're just gonna have to be more careful when you're traveling and out and about, or even just like eating at family members' houses, to make sure a small amount isn't in that food so that you don't have this ongoing autoimmune trigger happening in your body. So how much gluten is needed? Well, you're gonna wanna eat 2 slices of bread for 2 weeks. And if it's super obvious a person isn't tolerating at that point, then the doctors will test. If it's kind of, washy, they seem to be sort of tolerating, then you're gonna eat 2 slices of bread every day for another 6 weeks and then test. And that's necessary in order to have an accurate lab result. So also to add here, every lab might be slightly different in their protocol, but what everybody agrees upon is that you must be eating gluten for at least a few weeks prior to testing. So like the amount might vary a little bit, but that's a pretty good and close to standard protocol that you can go by. Okay, now you get your celiac disease testing, you rule it out, you're negative for celiac disease, you do your gluten elimination, you feel so much better. Does that mean that it's gluten that's the issue for you? It might be, but it might also be something else in those gluten products that you cut out. For example, wheat. You cut out the fructans when you cut out the gluten. Fructans can be a common intolerance when people are struggling with things like gas and bloat. So that might be the reason you're feeling significantly better, but you might not have a sensitivity to the gluten. But you might, and you might have both. So there's a lot of moving parts here, which is why I share that. And the most important is just tune into your body when you're doing this sort of elimination and reintroduction, and listen to your intuition, listen to your gut, pun intended, to see what feels right for you and what's worth it for you. I want to add to this video, if you end up going gluten-free, there are certain nutrients that you could be at risk per the research of having a higher risk of deficiency of. Now this can go two ways, because if gluten is causing inflammation in your gut, that in itself is going to put you at risk for micronutrient deficiencies, but then by cutting out that wheat, you might also be at risk too. So let me just share these nutrients because you can get them in other foods, you just have to be more mindful of it. So this includes the nutrients vitamin D, vitamin B12, folate, iron, magnesium, and zinc. And if you do test positive for celiac disease, I would really recommend at least having one session with a functional medicine dietitian, because you likely for many years had inflammation in your gut contributing to possible micronutrient deficiencies and other things where you could just really go into the session, work together to really optimize your health again. And then if you test positive for celiac disease, also you're going to want to monitor different labs just to make sure things are going well. So different nutrient labs, including your iron panel, autoimmune panels. So really the goal is just optimize health so that you can feel your best. And my favorite lab to use for micronutrient testing, which was like standard across the board in medicine, is SpectraCell's lab, which uses and checks in the white blood cells. So if you're interested, we can run that through our clinic if you wanted to come on board as a client. And it just checks a wide variety of different micronutrients. I think we have videos up on this YouTube channel about it as well. So thank you so much for watching. If you haven't downloaded our free guide already, it really aligns with what we're talking about in this video because it is 5 ways to improve gut health and end food intolerances for good. Obviously, if you have celiac disease, you'll get significantly improved once you cut out gluten. But this guide talks about 5 other things that you should really consider for optimizing your gut health, even beyond just cutting out gluten. So I think you'll find it really valuable if you haven't explored functional medicine yet. And the link to download that is below. If you haven't already, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified of our new videos every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Central Time. Thank you all for watching. I hope this was helpful, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.